we want to tell you that you are so loved. You are so loved by the God Almighty. And it's beautiful to know that when we recall the book of Genesis in the Bible, it says that everything that was created by the hand of God was beautiful at his eyes. What a beauty is right there in this passage when we can read that God rejoiced in the beauty of what he created. God rejoiced in the beauty of what he created. And we're still part of that creation.
And hide me now under your wing, and cover me within your mighty hand. And when the oceans rise and thunders roar, I will soar with you above the storm. And Father, you are king over the flood. I will be still and know you are God. Find rest, my soul, in Christ alone. Know Him, quietness and trust. When the oceans rise and thunders roar, I will soar with you above the storms. Father, you are king over the flood. I will be still and know you are God. When the oceans rise and thunders roar, I will soar with you above the storm. Father, you are king over the flood. And I will be still, know you are God.
Do you wish to have eternal life? You need Jesus. And before we sing the next song, we have a guest from California, right? Doug from California. He wants to have 1 minute, and I already spoke with him, so I'm going to let him say what he has to say.
Thank you. I left California on May 16th last year. I got here on August 27th. I walked 2,700 miles to share this message with you. The message is this, that God designed us in his likeness to govern us like a branch is being governed of a vine. If you look at a tree, you'll see those branches are connected to that trunk there. And in a way, God is sustaining us. He's showing us mercy. He's flowing his love into us, and he's being gracious to us. But it's not because the branch is up there trying to make it happen. It's because it's a natural flowing from God to us. We were designed for this. And if anything speaks of the love of God, in the forethought of his mind before he created mankind, he had to make us in such a way that we could approach unapproachable light. And the only way that's going to happen is to connect me to the unapproachable light. And therefore, in his mercy, before he even said, "Let there be light," he designed us in love, that we could have that intimate relationship with Jesus. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, God. You said a minute. I tried to turn it into a nutshell there. Now I got 5. Okay, here's what I find interesting. You'll notice that the branch isn't trying to live for the tree. It's living of that tree. Takes all the burden off of us. Religion is me trying to live for God because I don't understand the design. But the natural reality is that the branch lives of, not for. And the branch, in that wonderful honor and in that wonderful privilege, is designed on purpose, for a purpose, that the same activity that's inside of God would be inside of us. It doesn't make us God. It doesn't make me Jesus. We're all designed to be intimately connected to God. Every branch directly connected to Him, where I'm not trying to govern you and tell you how to do it. Okay? We all help each other. You'll notice the branches all cross. Their paths cross, but they're not connected in that sense that they live of each other. We all live of Christ. The same activity in Him inside of us. Therefore, we live as a unit connected to Him. That's the purpose of the design. Not only to make it so we're living of His holiness, which qualifies us to stand in His presence, living of His perfection, which qualifies us to stand in His presence, but living of His grace. He already loves you. So when I walk into this area, I can already love you because God is loving you through me because I'm connected to Him. I don't come in with judgment. I don't come in with, anything other than the love of God. And He's like a river, so we're just supposed to jump in, right? Amen. And as we're flowing in that river, He takes us someplace and we stop so He can flow through us to accomplish His blessing, to accomplish His mercy, to accomplish His grace, His wisdom, whatever He wants to. And then back into the river we go, and off we go. And that's what Jesus speaks of when He speaks of the Spirit being like the wind. You can't tell where it's coming from or where it's going, but that's how the children of God move. They move simply because they're connected to the activity of God. They move by the activity of God. Because they're connected to His wisdom, that's what needs to be coming out of my mouth. Because we're connected to even His healing and His power, that's what needs to be coming out of us. And so therefore, we are fearfully and wonderfully made in the likeness of Christ for that very purpose. Thank you, Lord.
And God bless you, dog. And actually, yesterday I was in a place, and a pastor stayed here, and a pastor gave me these two books. I was just having lunch, and a pastor came to me and he said, "The Lord has told me to give you these two books." He's talking about purpose. Purpose-driven life. These books belong to two people that is somehow around here. So if you feel like you are one of those, there are only two. Don't let someone get your blessing. But the pastor told me I have to give you these two books, the purpose-driven. So I said, okay, I will take them. Take them with you and make sure that somebody get them. So they're here. If you feel like God is willing to give purpose to your life, if you find yourself on the spot that purpose is needed in your life, we're here to pray for you and to help you in any way possible at this time. And this book is for you. And dog, I see that the Lord has this microphone prepared for you today. we like you just said, we walked toward the light, and we are all whole as a branch of the tree, which is God, the Lord. It's an honor to have you here. I bless you. I'm gonna call Pastor Gary so we can pray for Doug. If you feel available, you feel. Yes. Pastor Gary, let's pray for this servant of God. Alex, come here, please. Delano, let's pray for Doug. We're going to pray quietly over Doug for him to continue the mission the Lord has given to him.
Nothing compares to the promise I have in you.
to be standing out here today and getting to speak to everybody about Jesus. I'm just gonna talk about some personal stuff that I guess I've been through in my life that God has really encouraged me on, and times where I felt at my most alone. And I think something that this world longs for is a savior, just because of the loneliness we all feel, and we wonder, will we ever not feel alone? And it's great because God writes a whole book about what it means to be adopted by Jesus, and what it means to be adopted into the kingdom of heaven when you accept him, and when you bless his name, and when you accept him as your savior. He then adopts you into his kingdom, into his family. You're inherited the kingdom of God, which is such an awesome thing. It's like, how could I be royalty? I'm not a king or queen. I'm not from a monarch, but you are adopted as sons and daughters into the kingdom of heaven when you accept Jesus Christ into your lives. So I'm going to read from Ephesians. It says, "All praise to God, the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, who has blessed us with every spiritual blessing in the heavenly realms because we are united with Christ. Even before he made the world, God loved us and chose us in Christ to be holy and without fault in his eyes. God decided in advance to adopt us into his own family by bringing us himself through Jesus Christ. This is what he wanted to do, and it gave him great pleasure. So we praise God for the glorious grace he has poured out on us who belong to his dear Son. He is so rich in kindness and grace that he purchased our freedom with the blood of his Son and forgave our sins. He has showered his kindness on us along with his wisdom and understanding." And what I love in chapter 2, Chapter 2, verse 19, he says, "So now you Gentiles," which is us, "are no longer strangers and foreigners. You are citizens among all of God's holy people. You are members of God's family. Together we are his house, built on the foundations of the apostles and prophets and the cornerstone of Jesus Christ himself. We are carefully joined together with him, become a holy temple of the Lord. Through him you Gentiles are also being made part of his dwelling, where God lives by his Spirit." So I love so much about this passage is if you're feeling alone and you feel like there's no end to this road in life and there's no hope, there's hope with Jesus. There's hope with accepting him into your life and knowing that God sent his Son for your life, that he died on the cross, that he bled, that there was the holes in his hands and the spear through his body, that he did it for us. And he knew there was a purpose with it, that it wasn't just for show and it wasn't just for the people at the time, but during that time when he was going through that painful moment, he was thinking about each one of you, his sons and daughters, his future sons and daughters, to the heir to the throne of heaven. And there's so much power in that. You think you have no purpose, God will give you purpose. You think you have no life now, and you think you're alone walking on earth, and you feel like there's no one around you that could love you deeply. There's someone here that loves you more than you will ever know, more than you will ever know. And that's Jesus Christ, who will love you forever and ever without a doubt. There's nothing on this earth will ever separate you from the love of Christ. And that talks about that in Romans. There's nothing on this earth will ever separate you from the love of Christ. No heights, no depths, no demons. He will be there for you every step of the way. If you accept him, he will bless you beyond measure, inheriting you the kingdom of God. It's such an honor to stand here and just get to preach that in front of all of you guys, that God is so good. He's so merciful. I can't tell me how many times I felt alone in my life, or I felt as a Christian, and even if you're not a Christian, where I felt like no one loved me and no one cared about me enough to know who I was or who my identity is in this world. There's so many identities that it's hard to know where you lie. But Christ gives you everything you need to know and more. And if you're struggling with that and you feel alone, God will give you those answers. He will give you hope. He'll give you passions about things that you never knew you were passionate about. He will help you help others and to show you how to love others so much more deeply. So know that you're never alone. Know that you are deeply loved by the creator of the universe, by people who love you so much that they're here standing before you. They're fighting for you. We're praying with you, and to know that you're never alone, and that today is the day that you give your life to Christ and have him change everything, turn everything around for his glory.
So good, so good. Yes, you are, yes, you are. So good, so good. Yes, you are, yes, you are. From every nation and tongue, from generation to generation, we worship you. Oh, hallelujah, hallelujah. We worship you for who you are. Oh, and we worship you. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. We worship you for who you are. Oh, and you are good. Oh, you're good, you're good. Amen, amen.
God would restore everything that was lost. The entire Bible is about this one story. Paradise was lost, paradise regained. The first book of the Bible tells us about how paradise was lost. The last book of the Bible tells us how paradise is regained. So there is an earthly Eden, and we will have a heavenly Eden that is to come. From the beginning and all throughout history, God has been working to restore mankind and to restore creation. The whole Bible tells us how God has worked through nations and events and people to restore everything to its original state as it was in the beginning. Guess who the main character of this story is? Jesus Christ, our Messiah. God sent his son Jesus from heaven. He sent him down to this earth to fix it, to fix the sin problem. We are the ones that did wrong. We sinned, and Jesus was perfect, and yet he took our punishment. That's a deal, folks, you cannot pass up. We did wrong. He was perfect. He took the rap for us. He took our punishment. He took our place. We should have been punished, but he died in our place and was nailed to the cross for our sins.
And we will shout it out, shout it out. I will live, I will not die. The resurrection